Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's a good Friday afternoon to be with you. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Network. We are live in Charlottesville, across Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, right here on the I Love CVille Network. And today we're presented by Greenberry's Coffee, a brand and a business that's locally owned and operated. You can win coffee for a year. That's right, free coffee for a year through the link that you see on screen right now. Judah Wickower, if we can get that on screen kindly. What is it? Enter.greenberries.com for a chance to win coffee for a year. Very excited for today's program. Lee Vogler is going to be our guest in about 25 seconds. A three-term Danville, Virginia City Councilman, the youngest vice mayor in Danville history. And you know, we've been talking about Lee coming on the show all week long, and I've been very impressed with his reach in Central Virginia, as friends of the program have highlighted the accomplishments he's already had in his community. So Judah Wickower is our director. If we could go to the two-shot and welcome the councilman to the program. Lee, you are now live across our network. First, good afternoon, and thank you kindly for joining us.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I'm happy to be on. And as a side note, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so this is the best week we've had in a long, long time, so I'm feeling great.
Go Fins! The Miami Dolphins, and Lee is a fan here. All right, so you got quite a few folks watching you, including some folks here in City Hall in Charlottesville. Before we talk shop, how about an introduction to you? Introduce yourself to everybody that's watching today's program.
Well, as you said, I'm Lee Vogler. I have the pleasure of serving on the Danville City Council with an amazing team that we have. I was elected in 2012. I grew up in Danville, and we've had an amazing run these last 10 years, and I'm happy to have been a part of it.
The youngest vice mayor in Danville history. What's this community mean to you?
Well, as I said, it's home, first and foremost. You know, I grew up in Danville. I was away for a few years while I went to college at VCU in Richmond. I graduated and wanted to come back and roll up my sleeves and get involved. And, you know, and then I was encouraged by a number of folks to run for council, and was fortunate enough to do it when I was 24 years old and get elected. And but Danville is home, and it's a place that I'm now raising my family, and I believe it's a place that's great for a number of people to raise their families, and a great place to be, and I know we're going to get into some of that in a few minutes.
Danville's been the hot topic of a program in Central Virginia, the I Love CVille Show. We've highlighted your innovation. We've highlighted the community's commitment to economic development. We've followed closely the path of pursuit for a casino that's on the horizon in the area. First, I would like to highlight the resurgence that's happening in Danville and the commitment you guys are making to economic development and finding new jobs. Put that in perspective for us, please.
Well, it's huge, and Danville's gained this reputation in the last few years of being the comeback city, and that's something we really take to heart, and it's something our citizens have really rallied behind. But there's weight behind that, and it's when you think about 12 to 15 years ago, you know, we lost Dan River Mills, and then there was a national recession on top of that. And so going into 2010, Danville was about as low as you could possibly get, especially economically. You know, we lost thousands and thousands of jobs almost overnight, and essentially we had to reinvent ourselves and rebuild ourselves. And in the last 10 years, that's what we've done. We've laid the foundation for a new Danville. And whether it's companies like Tyson Foods, who's come here with 300 plus jobs, or Aero Farms, who's going to have the largest indoor vertical farm in the world here in Danville, or Morgan Olson, if you see one of the Amazon or the FedEx or UPS vehicles that bring you your packages, more than likely they're made at the Morgan Olson facility here in Danville. All these companies that have decided to call Danville home just in the last few years, and several others. It's just been a team effort, and something we're very excited about, and we're happy to tell the Danville story far and wide.
We are so happy for you guys, and we have been impressed in Central Virginia with the commitment to policy innovation. And one of those potential innovative policies that's currently being percolated is a designated outdoor refreshment area. I have been a huge champion of this in our community. Our team here, we're small business, and we understand, as you do, how difficult it is to run a small business, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic. I think a designated outdoor refreshment area, not only in our community, would drive meals tax revenue, would drive transient occupancy tax revenue, hotel and lodging for those that don't know the TOT, and would really help put the Charlottesville brand even further on the map. You guys are market leaders in the Commonwealth with this DORA concept. Can you please give us the flip book of what's happening in Danville with the designated outdoor refreshment area?
So this is something that citizens had been asking for a number of years, and as you know, we just simply couldn't because the state didn't allow for it. And so as the General Assembly, or at least not on a permanent basis, and so the General Assembly a year ago had legislation. It was working its way through, and even before they ended up passing it, I'd reached out to our staff, the city attorney, Clark Woodfield, and Doug Plachinsky with planning and other folks on the city staff, and said, look, let's keep an eye on this. Let's start kind of planning because I think it's going to pass this time, and I want Danville to get on the forefront of it. And so, and COVID and some other things have made it take a little bit longer than I would like. I want everything to happen as fast as possible. But I will say, over the last year, our staff has done a tremendous job of really putting all this together and making sure that everything is in place the right way. And so now we're on the cusp at our next city council meeting. We're going to pass this. I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to pass it. And so we will have this starting this spring where folks are going to be able to go out and have drinks outdoors and enjoy themselves and just add another feather in the cap of the great things our river district has to offer. And more importantly, as you mentioned, help our small businesses. We've, like most cities, we've got commercial corridors that have the chain restaurants and things, which we love those. But our river district, which has kind of become our central hub, is primarily and almost entirely made up of local businesses, local small businesses, restaurants and breweries, and on down the line. And so this is something that's going to help them, give them the flexibility to be creative and find ways to bring more customers in. They're excited about it, and we're excited about it too.
We see quite a few folks in the Danville community watching you right now. Kathy Scarbick, welcome to the program. Michael Williams, hello. Candy Surrey, hello. A lot of folks in the New River Valley and the Roanoke Valley watching the program. A lot of folks in Richmond watching the program. One of the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County watching the program. Some folks in City Hall in Charlottesville watching the show. Can you speak to the potential economic development and incremental tax revenue associated with a DORA and what you guys are kind of crystal balling or forecasting for your respective DORA?
Well, I mean, we all love the big home runs. As I mentioned, some of the industries that we brought in, and certainly what they do for tax revenue is huge for a locality. But it's, as you said, that incremental tax revenue of just having more people coming into your community and buying food and buying drinks and visiting shops while they're here and doing all that. And that adds up. I mean, it really does. And so, again, it's good for the businesses, but it's good for the tax base of the city of Danville. And it gives us an opportunity to do more things that we want to do. And so we feel over the next few years, as you mentioned, you alluded to the $500 million Caesars casino and resort that's coming in and what that's going to do for tourism. But on top of that, we're going to have a $12 million riverfront park being built in our river district. We've got the historic White Mill that's being redeveloped by the Alexander Company out of Wisconsin. That's going to be another huge project. All these things tie in together, but I think to be able to have this is something that folks are excited about and will just add and enhance to what we are working on already.
Your supporters, your constituents, your taxpayers are giving you some props right now. Tina Compton says, such an awesome thing for our community. Great job, Lee. Nicole Harris says, this is so awesome. It's an absolutely exciting time for Danville as we speak. We see the fine folks, at least someone from the newsroom at the Danville newspaper is watching the program here. I'd love to highlight the behind the scenes that goes into policy like this, because as we know, and we're both young guys here, we like things to go 1,000 miles an hour. We like things to get done, and sometimes we both know government doesn't always work that way. So can you put behind the scenes the efforts that go into change and innovative policy like this? Because I'll cut to the chase. One of our businesses, I Love CVille. And Danville is undoubtedly out innovating, out policying, and out driving economic development than Charlottesville, Virginia is right now. And that's props and kudos to you. What's the momentum and the behind the scenes that goes into an effort like this?
Well, it takes a great team. I'm happy to come on here and share our story first and foremost, but I don't do these things alone. And so everything we've been able to accomplish is been accomplished because we've got an amazing team that is all hands on deck, and we all want the same thing, which is to build a bigger, better, brighter future for our city, for Danville. And so we've had folks who've been very open to change and have pushed for change, whether it's on council or a city manager. Ken Larking has been a godsend. We have a new police chief who came in a few years ago, and the success we've had in bringing crime down. And Corey Bobet with economic development is, I'm scared to talk about these folks too much because I don't want somebody to steal them because they're just so awesome. But I could go on and on and on, but it takes a team, from the top to the bottom, everyone working together. And so, but sometimes the way it goes is myself or another council member, we may have an idea or a concept or something that we want to do, and then we present it, and then we say, okay, how do we fine tune this? How do we make this work? And that's where our great staff comes in. As I mentioned, Doug Plachinsky and Clark Whitfield, and the work that they've done just on this DORA, for example, over the last several months to get this thing ready so that I can come on here and talk about how awesome it's going to be. But they've been doing the hard work behind the scenes to make sure that everything is set up in the right way for our businesses and for our citizens. And that's the way we try to do it in Danville. But it takes a tremendous team, and I'm honored just to be a part of it.
We're honored to have you. Truly, genuinely mean that. Mike Mondul, giving you props, saying comeback city, baby, when referencing Danville. You got radio watching you right now in Danville. Lee Vogler, guys, our guest, for those that are streaming the program on Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts in their car. Nicole Harris, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you kindly for joining us. All right, how's it going to work? And I know the logistics still have to be figured out, and if it's still to be determined, we completely understand. But what's the early conversation of how it would work, boots on the streets, this DORA?
So I actually, and again, credit to him, our city attorney sent me the bullet points of the fine points of it this morning, so I didn't say anything on here that wasn't accurate. And so if you see me look off screen for a second, it's because I don't want to tell you something that's not true. But I do know it's going to be 7 days a week. It's not going to be, just certain days or limited to the weekend, as I know maybe some places would do it that way. But it will be limited. You cannot have the alcoholic beverages outside, the way you would other times between 12 a.m. and 8 a.m. We do have it cut off during that time. But from 8 a.m. to midnight, you'll be able to do it. The alcohol has to be either in a paper, plastic, or similar disposable container. You can't have more than the 16 ounces, so it is limited to 16 ounces, which is, a pretty standard drink, or a little bit larger even. So again, that's pretty normal. You'll be able to have it. We're going to have signs set up where the boundaries are, permanent signage to kind of make sure folks know where it's allowed, where it's not allowed. We're going to have the police. Public safety plan was put in place for this too. So again, this is all well thought out. And again, I'm not trying to read all of the bullet points because I don't want to be looking off screen, but I do know, again, we'll have the boundaries clearly designated. The police department's regularly going to patrol the designated outdoor refreshment area to monitor compliance with the provisions. And there will be at least one area designated as a pickup area for transportation so that citizens who do not wish to drive have a designated place to catch an Uber, taxi, or have a friend come pick them up. Again, so, if there's concern about an increase in drinking, we've kind of already tried to plan for any of that, and police there as well. But we've had events like this in the past. We've blocked off all of Craghead Street for a Day of the Dead festival that one of our restaurants down there did a couple years ago before COVID hit. And I mean, it was huge. We had probably 1,000+ people down there. and loved it. And so they wanted more of that. We have a food truck rodeo that happens here twice a year that my good friend Councilman James Buckner made happen here. And you can walk and drink down Bridge Street in the River District for that. And people say, gosh, wouldn't it be great if you could do this all the time? Well, soon you'll be able to. So, we're just pumped down here, and I know I'm going on, but I'm just so excited about what's happening in Danville.
Welcome Harrisonburg, Virginia to the program. Mary Ansel, welcome to the show. Our friend John Blair in Stanton, welcome to the program. We love you, JB. Is the plan to utilize this first iteration as potentially a proof of performance for future DORA districts within Danville?
So what the state legislation allows for is we can have up to 3 of these zones within a locality. And so we just looked at the River District with its high concentration of ABC licensed establishments, and it's very walkable district. And again, it's kind of our central hub. It's really grown over the last 10 years. So we viewed that as the perfect place to do the first one. But certainly we're gonna be looking in the future to utilize those other 2. With Schoolfield District, that's where Caesars is going to go. I imagine there'll be quite a bit of growth in that area over the next few years, taking that historic mill site and now bringing it back to life the way it is. So that's a possibility for the second one. We have the historic Neapolis District, what some folks call North Main Hill. Those from Danville watching will know what I'm talking about. That's another possibility down the line. But we want to kind of keep an open mind to the other 2. We don't want to jump right in because truthfully, the district where we're starting this 10 years ago wouldn't have been a good fit because our downtown used to be a ghost town, and now it's our central hub of activity. So we kind of want to see what growth is over the next few years before jumping in with the other 2. But yes, this first one will be a great way of looking and figuring out what works, what doesn't, and go on from there. But we're very excited about it.
We're very excited. We are very, very excited. I know Central Virginia and Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville are going to be following Danville very, very, very closely. Ted, I'm going to mess up your last name here. Is it Ted Marakis? Maurakis. Awesome, big things happening in Danville right now. Tina says the Day of the Dead was absolutely fantastic. Danville is rallying around Lee Vogler literally as I'm speaking on social media on my phone. It is blowing up. He is adored in his community. You can absolutely tell here what's happening on my phone. All right, we have to talk a $500 million casino. For those that don't know, give us the flip book. For those that are watching across the Commonwealth and the Mid-Atlantic, I'm seeing 4 states on the program here. Interestingly, those are North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, and Maryland. So I would expect a lot of the people watching here visiting potentially from a tourism standpoint and incremental revenue to your area for a $500 million casino. The show is yours, Councilman.
Well, first, let me just say we have the best citizens here, by the way. I know you shouted out a few of them, and I am beyond blessed to be able to represent them. And I truly have the best constituents, and they know I love each and every one of you guys. The Caesars Casino, Caesars Virginia, it will be the official title. We're very excited about. It's a $500 million resort and casino that's going to be coming to the historic Schoolfield district in Danville, where once was Dan River Mills, will now be this new icon in our city. And so we're excited about it. It was something that if you'd have told me a few years ago would be happening, I wouldn't have believed it. But they actually came to us because they thought Danville was the perfect location for this type of resort and casino because of our close proximity to North Carolina. I mean, we're an hour, a little more than an hour from Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. We're 40 minutes from Greensboro, High Point. I mean, all these large areas in North Carolina where folks can make a quick drive up here to Danville and visit. And then, of course, Central Virginia, as Richmond didn't cross the finish line last year. So folks who are up in that part of Virginia, come on down to Danville. And of course, in Norfolk and Portsmouth and Bristol are going to have theirs too. And I know they're excited about it. And I know I may be a little biased, but I will put our Caesars up against any of them. And quite frankly, I think we're going to have the best casino in Virginia. So we want folks to come down and see it. It's very exciting. When you think of Caesars, that's a brand name that people know worldwide. And there's only a handful of actual Caesars Palace, Caesars property. Of course, they own Harrah's and Horseshoe as well, but to have Caesars on the building puts us in a very elite class. And so it's going to be amazing. The conference center, they're going to have a outdoor amphitheater, and of course the gaming aspect, and a massive hotel. When it's done being built, it'll be the tallest building in Danville. And so it's a new day. It's a new Danville.
I love it. I love this. Elliot Harding, welcome to the broadcast, the fantastic attorney. You know Elliot?
Oh, of course.
Elliot says what's up, and he's giving you some props right now, Lee. Jesse Rutherford, giving you some props right now as we speak. We'll welcome South Carolina to the mix and Georgia to the mix here. Lee Vogler is our guest, guys. 3-term city councilman, Danville, youngest vice mayor in the history of Danville on the program right now. Let's talk about job creation with the $500 million project. Everyone loves to talk jobs. Show is yours on that topic, Councilman.
1,000 plus, and then that's just what it's going to do immediately, and then the spin-offs of that. I mean, we're already getting interest from another number of restaurants and grocery chains and things that maybe Danville wasn't on their radar 5 years ago, but through the hard work of this great team we have, and then Caesars on top of that, the Danville is now becoming the spot to be. So those spin-off jobs that are going to come from it too, it's been amazing to watch, and the excitement in our community. We put this in front of our citizens. Again, by the way, for those who don't know, this had to be approved by our citizens, and it went to the ballot in November of 2020, and so it passed overwhelmingly. It had almost 70% of the vote, and so this is something our citizens are behind and are excited about. And again, we want folks far and wide to come check out Danville, come check out Caesars. But while you're here, I think you're going to find a lot of fun things in the River District and beyond in the city of Danville. We've got great mountain bike trails that was ranked one of the top 25 in the world. Our Riverwalk Trail, I could go on and on and on. I love Danville, and we love telling this comeback story.
Now, one question one topic we're struggling with in our region, in Charlottesville and Albemarle County in Central Virginia, is the gentrification that comes with potential innovation and comes with development. Do we have any concern? Are you concerned at all about what this may do with housing in the Danville area from an increased assessment standpoint? And then the follow-up question is, how do we manage that moving forward? Because that, frankly, is something we are struggling with in our city, in our counties, in our region here in Central Virginia. As the University of Virginia continues to expand, it's adding a $125 million data science school, and it's attracting the employers that want to cherry pick the talent that matriculates from that school. It's bringing in a lot of outside talent to the area. And Lee, we love outside talent, and we love the incremental revenue that comes with it, but we're also very mindful of our long-term residents on fixed incomes, on retired residents, that this certainly impacts. Your thoughts on this?
Well, you bring up a great point, and we look at it 10 years ago, we had so many empty homes and buildings and just trying to fill them, that to now be in the situation we are, where every friend I have in real estate is having the time of their life right now because they're selling homes faster than they can list them. And certainly that will probably continue with the value to increase. But something we've done in Danville for a number of years is we've made sure to really look out for all of our citizens and to have plenty of affordable housing available. And something that actually we're going to be voting on here in our budget this year that I asked for was to have property tax relief for senior citizens. You mentioned those on fixed income and the permanently disabled. We're going to be raising the cap on who is eligible to do that, because inflation has gone through the roof, as everybody knows. I mean, certainly not just here, but across the country. And so, $20,000 in income 20 years ago, when we set a threshold for our property tax release, is quite a bit different today than it was then. And so we're going to be adjusting that to make this property tax relief available to more of our citizens, especially those who are on fixed income, because we want to look out for all of our citizens. Certainly, we're excited about the growth and the prosperity that's going to be happening here in the next few years, and already is starting to happen. But we want to make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind, and we're not forgetting about those who've been here through all the tough times, so that they can enjoy in this new prosperity as well.
Man, Judah Wickower is our director, and we're both nodding our heads here in just absolute respect and admiration of this guy here. Lee Vogler, I feel like I'm talking to a potential senator here on the I Love CVille show. It sounds like you are undoubtedly bullish of the potential and the near-term and long-term future of Danville. Tell us why.
I am, because, as I said, I grew up here. I've seen the good times, I've seen the bad times, but just in the last 10 years, and especially in the last few years, I've watched an entire community come together, and people roll their sleeves up, and everybody's just buying into to what we're doing and making it happen. And so I've seen the progress we've made, but I'm even more excited about what's coming next, because when I say we're the comeback city, I mean that. And I think folks are just starting to see what's happening here. And I think, truthfully, in this decade that we're now in, we're really going to see the house, so to speak, be built on the foundation that's been laid here. It's a very exciting time to be in Danville.
Mary and Wade Moorfield giving you some props right now. Danville representing right now for their councilman. All right, we'll close on this. What is Lee Vogler's future looking like here from a politics standpoint? I mean, your future, I've chatted with you for all of 27 minutes. I can tell you're a rock star, and you are going vertical with any path that you want. What are some goals for Lee as you climb or potentially stay in the political stratosphere?
Well, first, again, I've been blessed these last 10 years to be on the city council and represent the city that I love so much. And I hope to continue to do that. And where things go from there, I take it one day at a time and keep an open mind to it. But I love representing our region and our area. And in any way I can help people in the future, I certainly want to do. But I just love having the opportunity to get my hands on with things and to truly help and make a difference. And so wherever that ends up taking me next, we'll see. But I've been more than blessed to represent the city that's my home, and Danville will always be my home.
You got multiple people saying Senator Vogler in the house right here on the social media stream. You are impressive. I hope to continue the connection and conversation with you. This community, this region, this area of nearly 300,000 people that we're in are going to literally be following Danville extremely closely as you guys do this designated outdoor refreshment iteration. Literally, we will follow your success and your policy closely and potentially duplicate it here in Central Virginia and in Charlottesville. And I'm going to straight up say this: Danville out innovating from a policy standpoint Charlottesville and the home of the University of Virginia right now, and that's props and kudos to their local government. Thank you so much, Councilman Vogler, for joining us. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. You too, Jerry.
Take care.
You too.
Right. Absolutely fantastic. Go back to the one shot. Judah Wickower, Lee Vogler, guys, making big-time moves, and Danville in totality making some big-time moves there. We wanted to utilize today's show as an opportunity to offer literally insight into what Danville is doing with policy, economic development, incremental revenue, and driving a positive spotlight to a region that is undoubtedly heading northward, upward, and in positive directions. Folks, when this casino is done, a $500 million Caesars is done, when a designated outdoor refreshment area is approved, and you heard the councilman, the DORA is going to be approved in early April, straight up said it's going to be approved. Think about all the incredible potential Danville has. Central Virginia, we reached over 253,000 unique IP addresses on the I Love CVille Network last year. 4 million IP addresses across the Commonwealth on the I Love CVille Network, and even more when you consider the following outside of Virginia. I would encourage everyone that's watching and listening to this program to sprint to the Danville area, to the Danville community with open wallets, open purses, ready to enjoy mountain biking, ready to enjoy the amenities associated with a fantastic river, the Dan River, a $500 million Caesars, a designated outdoor refreshment area, I mean, the future is so bright for the comeback city. And we very much encourage local government in our home, Charlottesville, and in Albemarle County to continue to consider the incremental revenue associated with tourism and a designated outdoor refreshment area. One of the main reasons I personally am running for Albemarle County Board of Supervisors is to drive incremental revenue to the municipality and to alleviate the tax burden associated with rooftop and real estate taxes. I've said this so many times on the program. Rooftop and real estate taxes are regressive for our citizens, especially those that are on fixed income, low income, or retirees. We must, as a jurisdiction, find incremental sources of revenue to fund yearly jurisdictional budgets. And the best sources of incremental revenue are those associated with tourism. In a designated outdoor refreshment area, heck, look what Danville has, a $500 million casino coming. Their $500 million casino is synonymous with, say, Charlottesville and Central Virginia's University of Virginia. How many people come into this region for football and basketball and baseball and lacrosse games? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands every year. Guess what? They're getting the same with this casino. Okay? And it's paramount. Leadership understands the concept of incremental tax sources as opposed to regressive ones. Elliot Harding says, Lee Vogler, a good spokesman for his city, a positive attitude, and what a concept. Elliot Harding, you are loved on this program as well, sir. I love connecting with you guys through this platform. You see what we are all about, and it's positively championing small business and ways to improve our community and our home. And I was moved by Councilman Vogler. And I think, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, you literally caught a 25 or 28-minute glimpse of a man that has a congressman's future, a Virginia senator's future. Okay? 3 terms on council in Danville, and the youngest vice mayor, first involved civically at 24 years old as an elected councilman. I hope, and I will continue to be persistent, that our council and our current Board of Supervisors will follow closely the comeback city and what the comeback city of Danville, Virginia is doing for economic development, revitalization, and the support of small businesses and alleviating tax burdens associated with regressive tactics like taxing rooftops. We need our leadership to take a page from Danville's book. That's the Friday edition of the I Love CVille Show. For Councilman Lee Vogler and our director, Judah Wickower, my name is Jerry Miller. Have a good weekend. Please keep it local. Please keep it in the community. And stay safe, everyone.